In a good shady way.
Yeah.
Shelley does that. It's the top board, right?
I get on my ladder.
I didn't leave early.
It's the game. No.
All right, I guess we're all here. I would like to introduce Matt West as our township manager. I think he has an announcement to make before we start a meeting.
Let that slip in. The Phillies game. Now you got it. Everyone's Phillies too. So I'm not from here, so I am raising my boys to be Phillies fans. We're a divided household. My wife's from Philly, so
6-0. Oh, you're Buffalo.
I am a Buffalo fan. Buffalo Bills.
Can I let that slip?
Yes.
Although I don't mind that.
Thanks a lot.
You're okay.
You're gonna traumatize me. I'm going. Thank you for having me tonight. I just wanted to address the board and just let you know about some pretty amazing updates that are happening at the township, especially related to this board. Recently, the board of supervisors adopted an organizational chart change. We made some adjustments. I've been here about 1.5 years, and something that has been apparent to me is that we need to have a little more influence on our park space. And right now it's been incorporated into the Public Works Department, and we wanted to prioritize that. We don't have enough infrastructure yet to have a full-blown Parks and Rec department. I still think it does belong inside of the Public Works Department. But what was missing was some leadership having to do with Parks and Rec. And so in discussion with the Board of Supervisors, they approved a reorg that created a new position inside of Public Works for the Parks and Rec. So we now have a dedicated group of workers inside of the Public Works Department for Parks and Rec. We created a new position, the Parks and Rec foreman. So now we have 2 foremen in Public Works, one for Parks and Rec and one for the road crew. Through that, the board also approved, and we hired an additional person to help support Parks and Rec. We now have a Parks and Rec foreman and 2 crew members. It's a really big deal. Might be asking, why are we talking about this? Because as part of that change, we also looked at how we organized the staff time and looking at those folks who have been so integral in our parks and recreation. We wanted to elevate from within and reassign, or continuing to reorganize, reassign responsibilities, roles and responsibilities. And so I'm here to announce that and introduce your new Parks and Rec coordinator and Parks and Rec foreman, Bill May. This made total sense, and talking to Bill and watching him in the past 1.5 years on how much he owns these parks, and he is Mr. Parks and Rec. And I wanted him, as part of that leadership role, is to also take over Shell's position with this board. He's your guy. He's the one who, not to say, not to diminish Shell, one bit. Didn't sound like it, sorry. It's just a way to empower Bill to be included in this board and have this board function even better into the future. So I just wanted you all to hear it from me directly. And I just wanted to congratulate Bill. This is just a really big step for Bill and this board. And you're going to see transition. It's going to take a couple of months for Shell to do a full download to Bill. So Shell's not going away. She's still part of the township. It's all good. It's all good. And I wouldn't have been able to do this without Shell's input and influence. And I just appreciate Shell for everything that she has done in helping this transition with Bill. I know Bill is like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed already. But
Well, I'm gonna say, to get up to her standards, just working with her, that's gonna be a difficult task in itself.
Yep.
But I couldn't have a better mentor, so to speak.
He's a quick learner, I have to say.
I call her Yoda. I would be Jar Jar. That's the level we're on. we're pushing 10 years. And it's been 7 since I've been unofficially in charge, but
So, right, okay,
Mhm.
Bill said unofficially in charge. That bothered me. It's like unofficially in charge, like, you need to be officially in charge of the Parks and Rec, inside of Public Works. And so that was a testament to Bill's dedication, and I just, again, congratulations, and you're in really good hands.
It's good move. It's good move.
Right?
thank you.
So thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
And we're here to support him in any way we can.
Well, don't expect this much detail, these things.
That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, and you got a new t-shirt? Is that a new?
No,
shirt?
this is.
I
this is
know,
all
he
I
looks
I
so
just
sharp.
I
Yes.
know.
Yes.
maybe I should get a badge. Okay.
No, what was that?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. No, it was Johnny Dangerously. Yeah.
Okay, I think we need to get started. And before we do, I think we need to do some reorganization.
As you know, we are chairman, we need to finish our terms for our chairman and vice chair at the end of the year. Vice our chair.
So I motion for Marco to be chair, temporary chair. And do I have a second motion?
I second that.
Oh, great. So you guys have to bear with me because I am not familiar with the Robert's rules. So this is a team. I was kind of slid into this, and so just bear with me and just support. Okay, so second motion. So everybody approve? All in favor?
Aye.
Mhm.
All opposed? Anybody opposed? Okay, we motion carried.
All right. Good evening. So as temporary chair, as you know, we need to basically fill up our position of chairman till the end of the year, at the end of term. So that said, you're welcome on the voting members. You're welcome to any nomination, any name nominations that you would like. As temporary chairman, I would like to make my nomination as Kathy to be chairperson for the remaining term of 2022. Or if you have any other candidates you'd like to nominate.
Anybody?
With that said, there's no other candidates. I need a motion to nominate Kathy as chair.
I motion.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, congratulations, Kathy.
For the remainder of the
So,
year, yes.
as you guys know, Kathy was vice chair. So now we have a position of vice chair. Would anybody like the nomination of vice chair? To make a nomination for vice chair?
I would like to nominate Jessica.
Do we have another nominee? If not, motion to nominate Jessica. Do we have a motion to nominate Jessica?
I'll motion that.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay,
Second.
good. Jessica, congratulations. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Jessica is our new vice chair.
Congrats, Jessica.
Back to
Okay,
you, Ms. Chair.
okay, here we go. So the first thing on our agenda is to approve the minutes from July 19th. That seems like it was so.
So-
I know.
long ago.
Mhm.
So did everybody get a chance to take a look at the minutes? It was a long time ago.
Mhm.
Anybody have any amendments, changes, concerns? with the
Yep, I
minutes?
think Marco,
Oh,
you
yeah,
had
I
something.
do.
Yep,
I do actually.
Okay.
You have my
I do.
email. Paragraph under the public comments
Yep.
about what took place on public comments of Mr. Myers and Mr. Bender
Mhm.
announcing their resignation. I do not believe that belongs in public comments. I would put it under other business.
Yep.
And I did some rewriting of it. I think to the benefit of everybody. If you would like to read it.
Sure.
Versus what's in the minutes.
So under other business advisory board update, Mr. James Bender announced his resignation as chairman of the Parks and Rec Board. In addition to Mr. Charles Mayer also announced that he will not be seeking an additional term following year's end. Mr. Mayor served our township for 30+ years of devoted service. To our township, Mr. Tostanowski commented that both members always served the good of the township by volunteering and spending many hours of their personal life to make New Britain Township a great place to live. Mr. Tostanowski emphasized to the committee that the advisory board volunteers are here for the benefit of the township and to serve the community. We will miss having them on the board.
If you guys want to accept the rewrite or leave it the way it is, it's up to you.
I motion to accept the rewrite.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion
Okay.
carries. Okay. All right, so the second item on our agenda is the Fall Fest. Shelby, give us
Yes.
an update on that?
Absolutely, yes. So first I wanted to thank you all, thanks to all the volunteers from the Park and Rec Advisory Board. It was a very good event. I heard the parking lot, I personally wasn't there, but I heard the parking lot was so full.
Probably the most crowded I've ever seen it. It literally took up one entire soccer field and started to spill over into the second.
Mhm.
I think it was first time where we ever sold out of food before we stopped. We
Ever, yeah.
stopped because we ran out.
Mhm.
That's the first time ever.
Well, we
Since
kind of
in recent-
we kind of downsized the amount of food that we bought too, but either way, it was.
It's-
I think we had,
And
cooked,
didn't we raise the prices slightly too? So kind of,
cooked 500 burgers, 500 hot dogs.
Yeah.
But big success. Big
Big
success.
Right.
We raised quite a bit of money
Mhm.
for a good cause, which is great.
Mhm.
I would like, as chairman of the Veterans Committee, I would like to thank everybody for jumping in. It was kind of chaotic that morning, but
it always says it's never gonna be, we got it under control.
it was great. I mean, the vendors were great and the entertainment was great.
Mhm.
Big School of Rock was a big hit.
Right.
The bubble truck.
Yep.
I think that has to be,
Bubbles,
that
yeah.
has to be there every year. It's a
Yeah.
huge hit.
Yeah.
And for the
Mhm.
amount of damage it did to the field, it really wasn't, it's definitely worth having them back.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's always a big hit.
I know. Our little events are getting better and better.
They are.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They
So
are.
that's really great news.
Because of everybody pitching in and helping.
Mhm.
It was great. That was really great. It was nice to see, it after all the work we put in.
Mhm.
And we had a beautiful day, so the weather.
It was a great
Yeah.
day.
Beautiful day.
Yeah.
Beautiful day.
Mhm.
So we have some good points to build on next year.
Mhm.
You know, things we can do ahead of time. As you guys know, next year, I don't know if you guys saw the email from Mike Walsh. It's going to be our 300-year anniversary in Brent Township. It
Mhm.
was founded in 1723.
Wow.
So it's gonna be 300 years. So we've got a big event. So if you guys want to volunteer, just, talk to Michael Walsh.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Fall Festival was awesome. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Anything we can do better? Anybody have any suggestions?
The parking was, getting people in was a little difficult because they were backing up into the street because they wanted to come down the sideway.
Yeah, they did it backwards.
Okay.
We normally sent them off of it. There was really nobody there to stage, or there's only one person there. I think we normally had 2 or 3 to bring in when people were coming in and checking in. And we sent them off the parking lot. All the vendors would come off the parking lot and down onto the field. They were being sent around the driveway and then coming up between fields 2 and 3 to set up, which was, I don't know why it went like that. We've never done it that way before. We need to keep things, I said it before many times, once you change something, everybody gets confused. They're creatures of habit. They know one way, they've been doing it for years, and that's where they have to go.
I think just having maybe a sign that parking is towards the back.
It's not the parking lot, it's the check-in, because people have to be listed and checked in. We only have one person there, the people start to back
No,
up.
This was after vendors were checked in. I mean, people were just, and then also the cars.
The people come in, they come down the driveway to park on the soccer field. That's the only traffic that's coming in after people are checked in.
Because there were 2 confounding factors, because the car show was competing with 4 other car for shows in the
Mhm.
area.
Right.
There were no cars here and people were trying to park where we had locked up for anticipating cars. for the
Right.
car show. The second thing is then people were turning the wrong way too, to this parking in the front here because they didn't want to wait to get to the back. So, I mean, I don't know how, two separate issues. Number one, you might want to consider just if the car show is even worth it anymore, because it seems to be less and less cars and they're going to bigger shows that have bigger monetary
I
prizes.
think there was something that happened up at, it was a benefit for someone that they had a car show for. I think that was a
Oh,
big
yeah.
problem, but you're right. And it's September's the car shows. You're gonna have car shows throughout the entire month, so.
So that's one thing. And then I don't know if you want to try to block this area here so people don't try to pull.
Well, we normally had the toucher truck. That got moved at the last minute.
Yeah.
Toucher truck was supposed to be up here. They normally take up a lot of space and we've had it back here. We had barricades set out, but we know what happens when people see a barricade. They don't say it and they move it on their own. So I think for that, we can try to address it, but if it's something minimal, I think the bigger factor is getting them parked the proper way.
It seems to me like we need more volunteer staff in moving the cars along in an appropriate manner. You know, just people out
Mhm.
there with a flag and waving them
Yeah,
which
maybe,
way to go
maybe
or
at least
stopping
until
them.
the first half hour after the vendors are checked in.
Mhm. So I think
Okay.
that's
Or
something
we had
we get.
volunteers that didn't show up. either.
We need volunteers to be able to do that, but I think that would make things run a little more smoothly as far as the parking goes. And safety is an issue too. Cars are going all over the place and not being directed properly.
Mhm.
Can you stage vendor check-in? Like, instead of just saying everybody at 9?
Well, this is
that
becoming,
option?
now it's becoming, this is something that the Veterans Committee needs to decide on. This is not going to be, this is, the Park and Rec only has two venues for this. We have the Bubble Truck that is sponsored and we have the Peaceful Kingdom. This is a Veterans Committee event. So I think they should be making the decision as far as what can they do next year.
And one of the decisions is to start early, because I mean, like, I spoke to a couple of people that on car shows are already booked for next year.
Yeah, well, it's,
Mhm.
You know, we can't compete with Montgomery Township that has 70,000 people, you know, residents, and we're at 12,000. It's like,
Mhm.
it's like, so we have to know the size that we can, you know, that we can accommodate. But I agree. I mean, we can only build on so much, but all around, I thought it was a great event.
Yeah,
It was a great
absolutely. It's one of our best events. It really is. It's growing and people seem to be really happy and the weather cooperates. You know, it's
And
really
again, if you have
a
any
really great
ideas,
activity.
if you have any ideas, don't wait till the last minute. I mean,
Yeah.
please run by us.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know somebody,
Yeah.
think this should be done, this should not be done, please let us know.
Mhm.
I mean, even though we're the Veterans Committee, we're open to everybody.
Well, you know, certainly if you ask the Veterans Committee about the car show and how they feel about that, if they don't feel that they want to continue it, you could certainly stage the vendors, like point them to that direction, kind of.
well, I'd say if we didn't have the car show up there, we could stage a touch a truck up there.
Right.
Just because luckily, and I say this luckily, but it was dry and we were able to get those vehicles. That had been wet, the vehicles would not have been on that ground. There was actually some damage done to the infield. It was minor. I was able to repair it from the crane when he put his outriggers down because it's just so heavy. So that's just something to think about.
Yeah, I think we can investigate a little early on at other car shows that could possibly be happening. And if that inhibits our population for people coming for the car show, then maybe we can move the big truck over there, the touch truck. And we'll still just need a couple volunteers with flags to, you know, help with the cars and the parking.
Right.
So we'll have to ask the vendors to jump in.
It's okay. I can do multitasking.
That's right.
Okay. All right, so it was all really a great day. How did the baskets do? Did everybody pick up their stuff?
Yes, they all
Okay.
did.
Good,
Mhm. They
good.
were all so happy. Thank you so
Good,
much.
that was just good. It's fun to do that.
Yeah.
And maybe for the 300th anniversary, we could do even more.
Mhm.
I think it's a good money maker, but,
Yeah.
okay, so If everything was said and done about the Fall Fest, we can move on to the Santa House.
Yes, so Santa House, we're now in October. We have booked, if everyone is okay, December 9 and 10, that's Friday and Saturday. We have coordinated with Chalfont Fire Company to deliver Santa, same time, 5 p.m. sharp on both days. And this time, we're also, because we saw how all the kids love the truck, they stayed a little bit longer, so they're willing to do that again this year.
It definitely helps with the line too.
Yes.
You know, like interest.
Mhm.
It keeps them from running around the parking
Yeah,
lot.
and they can't look at it. if they walk
Yeah.
by.
And they're gonna have folks there to kind of tour them around the truck. So they also, we've contacted Daniel Beal from UNAMI. He's the choir director there, and they are able to make, I think Friday, Saturday, another school at CB is able to make it as well. So we now both have musical performances for both evenings. And I think that is it for now. Letters are going to be going out to sponsors shortly, probably this week. He is going to be, yep, he's confirmed. Yep, yes. So, yeah, Bob Claus, yes. So it's director of Southside CB, South High School. So they're going to be joining in. So that's my quick update for now.
That's awesome. Anything with what we're doing with the snacks, what we did last year? Or are we gonna do
Last
the same
year's
thing?
snacks were, I think they were a hit.
They were perfect.
They loved having a choice, you know, all these different options. There were a lot of chocolate cookies. So their eyes lit up and they were like, wow, I could pick, you know, I think we had them pick two choices and love the hot chocolate. So I think we might do the same thing
I
unless
think we
if
should
someone has.
set up exactly the same way.
Yeah,
Okay.
it worked
Um,
really well.
And the
Yep.
5-gallon,
Mhm.
That urn, do we have that?
yes, we
We
do.
do, yeah.
And that worked out well.
And it worked out perfectly because now we only had to heat the water up, then we can mix it inside that. And then it was just ready to go. And yeah, when it started getting low, we had one water pot heating up, so you're not, and the kids, it was great.
Yeah,
And it kept
was
it
really
warm.
good.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to keep it plugged in and all of a sudden now it's, 210 degrees.
We are definitely streamlining this as well.
It worked
Mhm.
out so well.
I know.
It was really good. Yeah.
Are
Are we still doing the hay bales and fun?
I'll do that.
I think we keep, I actually would
same
make the
setup?
suggestion, I think we keep Santa outside the house. I
Yeah.
really like the way that looks.
Yeah.
The kids could see him and they could all anticipate, and he was wide out in the open, everything was lit up, so that,
Yeah. Because there were shadows on some of the folks' pictures, I think.
Yeah.
So keeping him out will be
Will
beneficial.
be good.
that.
And the decorations will just do the same as we
Mhm.
did last year.
What about St. Jude? Are they not?
I don't know.
I could reach out to them still, we could, they do, yeah. Last year they couldn't do it, but I could always reach out. Yep.
Who's going to take pictures this year? James did it last year.
Well, I took my own picture last year. Nobody took mine. Or you mean of the event?
Well, if you want to sit down, parents want to sit down with their kids and get a
Oh,
picture.
Okay. like a fan.
Like, here's my camera, can you take a picture of this?
Right, just to volunteer. Yeah.
I think somebody will, I
Yeah,
think we can set up.
volunteers.
Yeah, that's
I
always
mean, I'm
fun.
willing to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice shot. I've actually used it for Christmas with for 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Oh,
Mhm.
good. Okay, so
They'll give me directional sign count.
Excuse me?
Signs,
Directional
give me
sign.
count. So
Yes.
we're
Okay.
required to do dates.
Yep.
And then we also would like to invite the food pantry so that they could possibly collect the cash donations and have someone there.
Okay.
We have a
Along with-
representative already
yeah.
willing to do it.
Oh,
There you go.
awesome.
Yes.
Because typically in the past, we would take it, we would collect and take it to them.
We had
Right.
the A-frame, but,
Mhm.
because we did it at the Easter egg hunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
My wife did it. So she was willing to stand out, that she said, yeah, she'd be happy to do it for Santa House as
Yeah.
well. So she can just take the cash and, go to Giant, and that's our food for the week, but anyway, no, she'll take it and turn it into the food pantry. But yeah, so that's already done.
That's awesome. Any repairs or anything need to happen to the Santa house? Are we all good with generators?
Well, when we can get to it, we'll get there.
Okay.
Normally, typically November is when we start looking at, it, pull it out, fire it up, make sure everything works.
Santa has a chair last year.
Yeah.
He had hay bales. We're doing the hay bales.
I think we had a chair for him.
Yeah, but it was too small.
Right, so we're gonna
So we
have
sat him,
to,
I think we sat him on the hay
find-
bales. It was an old rocker. It's-
I know.
Did they come out right? That's all I'm saying.
It was a-
Did it fall apart?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
oh, yeah, okay, perfect.
I know. All kinds of stuff.
Awesome.
That's all. It just needs to be a bit wider than a normal chair.
Thank you.
I put a pregnant lady in it. So.
First off, I bought this thing and I don't know if it works, but you can borrow it for Santa. It's a hot seat thing that's supposed to heat your butt when you're sitting in it from your body.
Nice.
I haven't tried it yet for the.
If we all got to stand out there in the cold, Santa can deal with it too. We don't need to pamper him. He lives in the North Pole.
No.
It will give him rosy cheeks, right?
Okay, and then. And the second thing is, I know that you collect cash for people that forget to bring canned goods and stuff. The other thing that might get you more cash is if you do a 50-50 and let the 50% go to the New Britain pantry.
But then we'd need someone to sell the tickets, and then we'd have to have a raffle, and then we'd have to have a drawing, and people, we want to try to get them through. It's a good idea, but our purpose there is not for people to hang around,
Yeah, and I
Come
don't
in,
know if.
because
as
we're
a
only there for
township-
2 hours.
Yeah, and I don't know if as a township we could do a 50-50 legally.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Games of chance, we do not want to mess with.
Okay, anything else?
We could do a 0-100.
Okay, so moving on to North Branch Playground.
Okay, this is my role here. We have a lot of information on North Branch Playground. Lions Recreation is no longer going to be our installer. We got a full refund from them. We moved to a different company, Recreational Resources. The proposal that they and their bid have been accepted by the board. I spoke with them today. We're in the process of getting the ball rolling, and they guaranteed us an install date by December 31st.
Awesome.
As of today.
Awesome.
So now it's just a matter of getting the purchase order and their quote signed, scanned back to them, picking the colors, picking which one exactly we want. And I talked to them today, and I said I had implemented that there may be penalties applied if they're late.
Right.
I said, what can you do for us? He said he's going to talk to his boss. I said, because we have a very bad taste in our mouth. I said, you can promise us everything. I said, but I said, boring an act of God, you know. He said, no, I guess we're still 5-6 weeks out from the time you order till delivery, and at 2 weeks for delivery. So he's still saying December. So
And thank you so much for expediting the process last week, so.
Hopefully it'll work out.
I know. Hopefully we'll get that snow that's happening.
he told me today that they've been on target on every project with the exception of one. And that was because the customer had ordered extra material after the fact.
Mm.
So
And we do feel,
they get their parts out of Wisconsin. So
this was kind of like Rush, but we do feel
Right.
that the size of that new playground is equivalent to the other.
he is
one.
going to give me, I talked to him today again, Thursday. He's going to come here. He's going to give me an hour's notice. I'm going to meet him down by the current site. And I said, I need parameters. I need exact dimensions. I said, I told him what our exact dimensions are right now.
Mhm.
I said, we don't have a whole lot of room to expand out there.
Right.
Because I took pictures, I looked at as far as the walking trail and the water line, it goes down to field 5. But we'll make it, I said, whatever he gives us, we'll make it work. It may not be a perfect rectangle, but we'll make it work.
I just want to make sure it's sufficient for the amount of population that's going to be using it.
It's comparable to the same size that we had there.
Because the elevation that we saw was kind of like hard to figure out.
Mhm.
What's that?
The
The
picture that we
Yes,
saw. the
yeah.
it is.
rendering was kind of hard
Um,
to depict.
Mhm.
Based on their quote, the amount of rails, I did the quick math as far as square footage, and it's a little bit larger but that's if it's a perfect square. I don't know if it's gonna be, like this one was, that one's 66 by 54. So if this one's 67 by 55. So it's pretty close as far as linear feet, when you add, 6 foot by 41 pieces or whatever, and trying to do the math in my
It
head.
looks
But
like you're on top of it.
we got it. We're expediting this. I want this done as long as everyone else does, but
Mhm.
it's
So
been
I had
over a
met
year
the-
now.
Yeah, I had met the owner of the company at PSAT's conference in April,
Mhm.
and they came in and talked to Shell. Bill wasn't able to join us, but Matt, Shell, myself, and Mike. And as he said, they have delivered every single piece that they have sold this year on time. So
Awesome.
that's the best thing. But correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
they said that they had pieces at Warrington, didn't they? Did they say that? Matt, do you remember if it was Warrington? Quakertown? He was from Quakertown.
His
but I
office
thought-
is in Quakertown.
Yeah, but I
Let
thought
me
they
see.
had pieces at Warrington Park, the new Warrington Park, if you wanted to go have a look at some of their, the Lions Pride one, I think was what he said.
I
Wasn't it?
don't remember
I
if
thought
I
it
have
was-
that in the
It was a
notes
local
that
one,
we
but I can
took.
make sure I find
Yeah.
that. If you wanted to go look at some of their pieces.
I'm just checking the notes real quick,
Yeah.
but keep moving.
Yeah,
And
shows-
I'll let you
Okay,
know.
so I think that's good. So the next thing up is Veterans Park Free Library.
Yep, installed, was done in August.
Awesome.
Mhm.
It's
Still
still
standing.
And they're
standing.
maintaining it?
Well, they don't have any, I questioners that they will be, that it has been treated with sealant
Okay,
on all the, I asked her, I said, it's all pressure treated in the ground.
awesome.
And the roof and the sides have all been treated with water sealer.
Awesome.
So-
Have you seen anybody around it or? seen
I've
it?
had some,
Did you?
Oh, nice.
Oh,
They like that.
oh, that's wonderful. And then we have the next one, the Pheasant Run Park Free Little Library.
yes.
Yes.
Terry Sikora is here.
Yeah.
To present.
Oh, hello, hi. So my name is Terry Sikora, and this is Pete Smith. He's my neighbor.
Hi, Pete.
Hi.
Hello.
Terry. We would like to put a free little library in our neighborhood. So I've been a resident of New Britain Township for 22 years. I live on Pheasant Run Drive and frequently pass Pheasant Run Park on my daily walks. I've always loved the idea of a little free library and think that Pheasant Run Park is the perfect location to install one. Many of my neighbors are avid readers, and we frequently swap books and enjoy discussing them. We'd love our children to see that we place importance on reading and learning in our community. I've seen many little free libraries in Doylestown, but there are none in our little Fairwood community, is what they call our little neighborhood. I'd love to start one in our shared community space. Some background information. Does everyone know about the little free library system? No, I have some information, but it's a nonprofit organization that builds community, increases book access for all through a network of volunteer-led libraries. It's a neighborhood book exchange where everyone is invited to take a book or leave a book. Its goals are building community, inspiring readers, and expanding book access. There are over 150,000 plus little free libraries in over 110 countries, with an average of 465 visits per library. So it's really expanding. Our little library has been built by a former member of the neighborhood. His name is Ethan Hill, and Pete has been helping him design it. And it is made of plywood. It's about 3 feet tall with a cedar shingle roof. And I had sent photos.
Mhm.
Did you
Yep.
get to see them? Okay, and I have 3 copies here with some pictures as well. Should I hand them to 3 of you? It looks really cute.
Yeah.
Wrong about the libraries.
And did you do the one at Veterans Park also?
What's that?
Did you do the one at Veterans Park?
I did not. I would love to know where it is. It's at Veterans Park. I think it was a young family. that
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Cocas, yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
that used
Yep,
it.
so good.
Yeah. Cassie.
Cassie.
Do we need, Bill, are there any rules or regulations?
The only thing we have to do is we have to contact Texas Eastern, and let them know that we will be boring a hole for placement. I think we're going to put it at the back corner of the playground in the wooded mulch area,
Okay.
right by the sliding board. I think that's the best location for it right there.
One closest to the street?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's right on the back corner. The trash can's on one side, this is all the way on the other side.
Yes, that's exactly where I thought it would be.
Yeah, that's a perfect location. All we have to do, I think we're well within our right of way with Texas Eastern there. We just have to notify them because there's a little patrol plane that flies over Tuesdays and Thursdays and occasionally a Wednesday.
And what are they?
They patrol the gas line.
Oh, the pipeline.
Yeah, the pipeline runs right through there. So yes, if they circle their plane, you better expect that someone's coming out within 20 minutes to find out what you're doing there. I think that's the only stipulation that I'll be in direct contact with you as we can go for an install date. The only requirement that we have is the post has to be set first and let the concrete cure for a day or two, and then you can place the top one.
Okay, so will you be providing the post and the attachment that would attach it?
Normally, we don't.
Okay,
We can discuss that. Do we have a problem if we,
is, how much would that be as far as the amount?
well, it's pressure treated 4x4. I 20 bucks maybe,
Yeah,
30
so
bucks.
it's minimal, yeah.
Huh?
Couple bags of concrete.
Well, we have that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll do the concrete and the install.
If you need a sponsor for the $20.
No, I'm just, the last one we put up, they had everything.
So I know exactly what you want. When I saw this on the agenda, I was so excited. I was already hoping to go to put it
I've
there.
been thinking about it for years.
Yes, so serious, I'm quite serious. If you need somebody to like sponsor the $20 or whatever.
No, we can-
I think it would make sense if we
That's
get,
awesome.
the concrete and the post in.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Set that,
so
and then you
do all
can,
that at once, and then we'll just put a bracket on it.
well, you can even put the base on it. You measure the, like I don't know the dimensions of the bottom of the house that you actually, that you built, or the library, so.
About 2.5 by 2.
Okay, so you just need a a piece of 2x8 to go under there
Yeah.
or something, cut it down to size, drill it to the top and then put that on top.
Okay.
But
so
that should be, the
these-
one on the top, the base should be pressure treated as well.
Mhm.
You
Okay.
can go to
If you guys
Walker's-
if you guys can sink the concrete, and put the post in, I think we can get it from there.
Okay,
If you go to
I
Veterans
think we can
Park on New Galena Road,
Mhm.
Walker's Road,
Okay.
you can see how they mounted theirs. That might help.
Yeah, I put a picture on the last page too. There's one in New Britain Burrows in the park there, Covered Bridge Park. And they use it as a food pantry.
Yeah.
But pretty much it's just a 4x4 and it's got like a sleeve or something that
it
attaches.
slides over top of the,
Slides over top of both posts and then screws to the bottom of the house. So if that's something that, I want to make sure that it's according to code and that the township approves everything. That's why I'm
I
kind of.
don't know if
asking
there's
for
really
that
much of a
part of
code
it.
on the 3 libraries, but we can make it work.
Is
I think
there anything
you're
as far
good.
as-
I think that's a little elaborate. That one looks like it's a little bigger. It probably has to be more sustainable for weight, but
Yeah, I think ours is gonna be. right? 3 feet? Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. So who's gonna be responsible for putting the post?
we
in?
will.
We
We'll
will?
put the
Okay.
post in.
Okay, great.
Is there
Awesome.
a motion?
Awesome,
Just
thank
to make a
you.
motion.
Okay, oh, we need to make a motion. I motion to approve the free library on Pheasant Run Park.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming in.
That's really nice. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Where we at? Oh, West Branch Park, the PA Rush.
Yes,
Here we go.
thank you very much.
If you could introduce yourself, your party and
Yes.
project, it would be great.
Yes, my name is Joseph Cullen, and I'm here on behalf of Pennsylvania Rush. And with me today are board members Robert Dutton and Luca Oganowski.
Oh, here we
go. So we're here today to discuss with you and present a proposal for West Branch Park, and specifically that is to take the existing field there, which is now like a football field that we utilize for soccer and football and other things, but turf that field. And we're going to go through, we have a presentation that we printed up and gave it to you, provided you a copy already. I'm sitting here today, I'm wearing really three hats. I'm on the board at Rush, I'm an attorney there. I'm also a resident of New Britain Township and also a father of a young lady who likes to play soccer and who's 10 years old, about to be 11, and would love to have a turf field right around the corner from her home. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to go through a little bit. I know some of you may be familiar with Pennsylvania Rush or PA Rush, but I really wanted to give you an idea about what we do in the area and our connection to New Britain Township. So PA Rush started off as Lenape Valley Soccer Club, and we started in 2008 as PA Rush, and we're a 501c3. And our fields are located right off, we give you the address on Upper State Road, which is right over the border into Doylestown Township. We do have a PO box, a New Britain PO box that we really operate from. We service all kinds of ages for soccer, different soccer clubs, ages, programs, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. We probably have well over 1,000 families that we serve in this area. And I would say, we don't have the exact numbers, but a lot of them are from New Britain Township and the surrounding areas. We do have a board of directors that's on page 3 that gives you a list of our kind of our organization structure. And it's a really big operation. I came to PA Rush about 3 years ago with my daughter and got involved, and I didn't realize the reach. And on page 4, we go through our programs. Our soccer, as you know, I'm probably dating myself, I'm 50 years old. But when I was growing up in Palmetto Township, we didn't even have a youth soccer league. Soccer just really wasn't a big thing when I was growing up. Now it's everywhere. And I think it's everywhere because it's so easy to play. Kids love it. And what's great about Pennsylvania Rush is the different programs. We have programs from 3-year-olds all the way up to the adult leagues. And just to go through with you the different programs that we have the 3-year-old Rush rookies. We have a vibrant intramural program that gives kids an opportunity. If they want to play, they can play. We'll put them on a team and they can play. We have pre-travel academy teams for the higher level. We also have our trial teams, which I think we have 700 families involved in that, in our travel program that goes from age 7 to 18. We have an adult league for our 18-year-olds. So any of you folks that know 90-year-old soccer players, you tell them now, you got to retire at 99. We can't offer a program, but we have a very, very, that is an area of growth that we see every year in our program is the adult league. Many people are, kids are, come back from college, they want to continue to play. You have other people. So there's definitely a market for that, and we're definitely serving that market. And then we have technical training, college advisory, and one of the programs that we're most proud of at PA Rush is our Thunder program. And what we did with that was we have the Top Thunder program. That's an outreach for soccer within us to help children, different families, different ages to play soccer if they have mental or some type of physical disability. It's probably a program that we think is really important to the program. Essentially, PA Rush, if you want to play soccer and you come to PA Rush, we're going to find somewhere for you to play soccer. No matter who you are, what physical, or if you have any mental or physical problems, we're going to find somewhere for you to play. And that's the beauty of this program. So that's who we are and what we're in need of to kind of continue this going. Right now, we're based out of, our fields are over on Upper State Road, right next to the sewage plant. We use them a lot. The parking's not so good. The fields are not the best because they're pitched a little bit, and it's right next to a sewage thing, and it's kind of a mess. We've outgrown our space. And also we need in this day and age for other reasons to have turf fields, because that's really what you're seeing township leagues, high schools, college ranks, all moving towards turf field for a variety of reasons. It's a lot easier to deal with. So we wanted to get a turf field. And one of the places we looked to was our backyard, which is New Britain Township, which is really where majority of our families are, and kind of the epicenter for where we draw kids from. And one of the areas that came up was West Branch Park. And we thought that's been servicing us for years. In fact, Rob should be over there coaching his 09 girls right now, but he's over here. And my daughter's there practicing right now. We've utilized the West Branch Park for many years for soccer game or for soccer practices. We've even brought in our own lights so we can utilize that. And we thought that was a good setting, potentially an opportunity, not only for PA Rush, but for New Britain Township, because it's an area, and I live right up around the corner from there, as does Rob, but it's an area where, you know, a couple of reasons why we thought this might work well for everybody involved is you don't have a lot of residential, so there's not going to be complaints about any lights. It's a park that has already drainage there from past work done on it, and would work well with a turf field. The parking is pretty good. I don't think we utilize it all the time. We never fill that park. Our parking lot's like exceedingly big. Like you go there and you're like, wow, this is really. And the other thing that I think is important is across the street, you guys have the fields that are dedicated for park space, the Robert Cotton Field, which I know there has been plans by Gilmore Engineer for, you know, this big palatial park, which hopefully one day gets done. But even if it doesn't, this could be a supplement to that and kind of the starting piece for maybe a more comprehensive park and recreations. You know, you could do something so some people can go to across the street and utilize softball fields or lacrosse fields, whatever it is. But we thought this was an excellent location, and that we thought also that the traffic could support it. There's good access roads there. You're not in the midst of a residential neighborhood. There are many things that we thought this might be a good location. We put a lot of legwork into this. We've had some meetings with some of the township folks. We've also been out to the site. We've gotten surveys from companies. We've been in contact with Gilmore to get the plans. We've put a lot of time and effort into this to get to this point. So we're very excited to be in front of you, and we thank you for having us. Our proposal, and we kind of wanted to give you guys, you know, obviously there's going to be a lot of details that need to be worked out with this, but we wanted to kind of give you a 30,000 foot view of what the proposal would include. And we list that there. And I want to go through them with you. So PA Rush will pay to improve West Branch Park with installation of turf field, lights, and low protective safety fence. And we're going to pay for this. We are going to have the financing funding. We have some partnerships with private sponsors. We've also been in contact with governmental leaders about grants and other things to help defray the cost. But we have a plan to pay for this. So really, we're not looking for the township to give us money. We may ask for some help on certain things, maybe with some maintenance or some minor things, but for the most part, we're not looking for the township to pay for this. We're going to take care of that. Second, what we would want is a right of first refusal for the use of the fields, which would be predominantly weekday evenings for training and some weekend hours for scheduled games. And we'll undertake the staffing and rentals for New Britain if needed. It can be done as at other such parks through the use of a public calendar, which we show you later on in the presentation. On the flip side, New Britain would give us the right to a long-term lease and permission to improve this area, which I think will be helpful to New Britain Townships and the residents of it. New Britain can generate rental revenue from renting these fields and when they're not in use with Rush. And I think there's a great need for that. And you will see people coming and renting. I mean, we rented fields turf fields all over the area. And New Britain will save money on field maintenance. You guys won't have to worry about, cutting, reseeding, doing, Bill could probably tell you all the stuff they probably have to do to that park to keep it up, and that would be an added benefit. The next page, the partnerships, we talked about this, the rentals could be accomplished in much in the way we're done right now for the parks, how they're currently done. And the reason we know that is because we use a lot of your guys' parks right now. I wanted to kind of go to the engineering part of this, and I may, I'm a lawyer, I'm not an engineer, so I'll try and do my best to muddle through this. But what we proposed was, long-wise, it would be an 11v11 field, and then we would have 2 9-versus-9 fields that are crosswise. So the length of it, like the football from goalpost to goalpost, would be for adult soccer, which is 11v11, and then we could also make it so the crosswise, there would be 2 9-versus-9 fields. So you could have 2 9v9 games, 1 11v11 game, and it would be, and we'd have it fenced in. We've already had sprint turf out to the site to evaluate it. We got the plans from Gilmore. They've taken a look at it and said, this would be a great place to put in a turf field, because you guys already had a built-in drainage system that I think Bill and I chatted about a little bit before that. As you can see in the next slide, there's the engineering plans that gives you kind of the information of how they would do it with the draining and how it would look overall. And again, that's on the next slide to kind of explain things. I know there are some issues with drainage, but the drainage seems to be down on the slope, not necessarily up on the upper field.
This comes from the creek.
It comes from
The creek overflows, and that's
Yeah.
it's not so much the drainage of the park, it's the fact that that's nowhere, it's like being down the shore at high tide.
Yeah.
So, but like that field is actually elevated enough where I've never seen it above
It's
that field.
never reached up to the.
My
top of the
concern
field.
would be, once rain gets on there, for where's that gonna drain into? It's such an occurrence would happen.
Yeah.
I want to speak to them, Robert, by the way, on the side, in the front right where that parking is, where the parking stops. Right
Where the rain gardens are?
Yeah, at Reservoir. When we had students winter out there, they evaluated it and said that is more than sufficient for the drains, because there's so much rock and sediment they put underneath the turf that by the time it even gets to that, there's not as much.
Right.
Any way to run into there, like that is by far, he said, double what they would ever.
Okay.
And believe me, we do not want to spend the money we are with any chance of having it ruined by water or anything like that. So we look very carefully at this issue. Also, lighting, the next page is the lighting issue, and you would place light poles, 60-foot light poles with the lumen distribution, as you can see on where the field will go. We don't think this would necessarily affect any of the neighbors, because I think there's a creek tree line that leads up to the neighborhood off Cedar Hill Road, where my sister actually lives. And I don't think it would affect the other side, and there's no houses there, it's just train tracks. So we think from that vantage point, it's not going to be bothering other residents, and we think it's not like it's going to be used late at night, but we would need lights there, because candidly, having a turf field without lights is not an optimal thing for usage and for rentals and other things. You're seeing, if I'm sure you go to PSATs and you talk to people, and there's other people, other townships who are doing the same thing. With Payne's an example, and Horsham Soccer Association, they're developing turf fields with the help of their local leaders. And we have the support of at least 2 of our local leaders. State Representative Palanchuk. The way we've written now is we have 2 state reps, or a couple districts now in the redistricting that are now with State Representative Shelby Labs, and then State Representative Palanchuk, both of whom we've met with. We've discussed this project. They've provided us letters of support. We provided the folks for this presentation. Candidly, we haven't gotten to State Senator Sanacero. We expect we're going to meet with him and we're hopeful he'll support this project as well. We just, because of timing wise, we didn't get a chance to get that done. But as you can see, they are also not only supporting us with letters, but they have been very helpful in pointing us in the right direction for grant money and to state agencies to help us secure funding for this in addition to what we're willing to do. So overall, just to wrap up, first of all, thank you for your time and thank you for your service as board members and advisory board members. I know this is a lot of work out of your time and it's important work that you guys do. And we're real excited to get this going. We're ready to move forward as soon as you guys are ready to move forward. What I think we're looking for today is maybe a vote for you guys to push it up. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of details we have to work out with the township and other folks. So what we would like to do is have some type of vote approving this plan to go up to the next level so we can really work on the details of this proposal and put pen to paper. At this time, I welcome any questions or comments or anything, and hopefully I can answer the question or one of our board members can.
I have a question as to the timeline.
Yeah.
When were you hoping to get this done? Because timelines kind of fizzle out here.
Sure. We would like to get it going as soon as possible. I think, Rob, we've spoken to the turf.
Yeah, I mean, typically a turf field again, the field's developed a little bit already with drainage, so that's a big step. Talking to our sprint turf, it's basically about a 6 to 8 month turn time. Typically if we, obviously going into the winter months, they can even do it in the winter. But our goal, would be, next fall, theoretically, if we got it approved in time. But again, there's nothing concrete where we don't have to do it, next fall, but ideally if we could do it, next fall, they could push it forward to 4 months. It also depends on when spring turf, because obviously they have a lot of jobs too, so when we can get them going. But that's obviously open to debate, but really it's about a 4 to 6 month job depending on the seasons.
Yeah, and just to add, so that field, because of the drainage is already developed, right? I believe there's already conduits for the power as well.
Yeah.
There was.
Yeah, so it helps.
Finding them was going to be an issue, but
What was that?
just finding them was going to be an issue.
Well, our electrician, we'll get.
Actually, if you have a metal detector, we screwed metal caps onto the conduit, but that was
Somebody was thinking
7 years ago,
To
10 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to the board, this is a lot of information that we did not
Sure.
anticipate this evening.
Sure.
And I'm not speaking for the board, I'm just speaking for myself. I think this is something that we're going to need to basically,
We're gonna have to have. big
we're going to
discussions.
have a discussion in private about this because there's a lot of information in here that, again, we didn't even know this was coming.
Yeah, and we're not looking to push,
Yeah.
push anything. What we were hoping to get accomplished is getting this in front of you guys. We're not trying to.
You
ambush
consider this a
anybody.
sketch plan, how's that?
Yeah, it's a sketch plan and have us have the ability to start working on this substantively and putting more details so you guys, because there's going to be some questions that you guys may have that we can't answer, or from a township's perspective, that either has to be discussed, negotiated, we haven't thought about, and what we're asking for you folks to do is just to kind of give us, okay, you guys go explore this with whoever the appropriate folks are, either on the board of supervisors, township manager, or whoever it is, or if you need something more thorough, we're happy to do that. We're not trying to ambush anybody. We're really excited about this project. We think it has a lot of good attributes to it, and we think this is a really good time to do it for a variety of reasons.
Are you opposed, does the field only have to be used for soccer?
No,
Okay, so it can fluctuate with.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was one of our things that we, back in Britain, obviously soccer is what we are. But once a turf field shows up, you're gonna go out and knock on the door.
But they'd be knocking on your door.
Well, theoretically, yes.
So
According to
the
them.
that's where
current
we
goalpost
would
was stay in
be-
place theoretically.
That's where we go back. If you look at field hockey is a big thing in this area, lacrosse is a big thing in this area, and that's they're always looking for training space and stuff like that. Everyone is, because, if it rains and, a week ago with all the rain, everything stopped for everyone. I mean, unless you had a turf field. And it's unfortunate for the kids in soccer, lacrosse, field hockey, no matter what outdoor sport they play, they can't play. Turf fields, it dries in 3 seconds and they're back on the field, it stops raining. So yes, that is, and that's where we go back, yes, well, obviously soccer fields, but after, when we're not using them, that's where the area opportunity comes from, where Township has a revenue maker.
Yeah, but first right refusal comes from you.
That's what I was
Correct.
saying.
Right, and what's our guarantee that it's gonna be serving other population versus just one
Right.
section of the population?
Well, this is precisely what I was talking about. There is going to be issues that are gonna come up that we have to figure out and work on. And there's gonna be massive amount of details. We've done our due diligence talking to other townships and, about how they did it and how'd you go about this. And there was different ways that people figured it out. The first, the issues that you're talking about, the right of first refusal, some of the stuff we're gonna have to reduce down to a specific agreement between the township and PA Rush on how it's to be handled.
Even now, like, we don't use any of our fields on Fridays. Fridays are, all of our fields are wide open, right? During the summers, I mean, pretty much the whole day is open because we never train during the summer, right? A lot of kids have off and don't train in the evening. So there's a lot of opportunities to rent out those fields to other organizations. And local families probably have to travel an hour, right, to proving grounds or wherever else, just so they can get some turf time. And they're paying $180, $190 an hour. And that's what we're paying Central Bucks school districts to rent out some of the Petton fields or CV South fields. That's a lot of money.
And my only glaring issue would be what happens if another team or organization damages the field? Who would pay or address?
The field is actually, well, we would handle it.
We would handle it.
Field number one is under warranty from the Spring Turf Company from multiple years. And then after that, we can obviously continue the maintenance plan of that. So any turf and damages, typically the turf right off the bat is guaranteed for, I think, 10 years. We know organizations that really replaced it recently in Huntington Valley, their turf field, because 4 years it was falling apart, done, replaced the whole thing. So that we would control all that, nothing unusual in that. And that's the biggest thing, is there would be no maintenance for New Britain Township to worry about, mowing, seeding, anything, because it is maintained by us, as well as the company that we're doing.
And we would obviously also have the appropriate insurances on place for this and require it if it was going to go to another. And also to have, we would probably need New Britain Township as an additional insured on this.
Would that cover vandalism?
No, I don't, I'm not sure, I'm not sure what it depends on, I guess, the policy you have. But, vandalism, hopefully that doesn't happen. There's other.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely get deeper into that. I think that's obviously then, it can happen anywhere. It can happen in the West, we have you guys do the West Branch now or West Branch right here. But yeah, I mean, that would be something we would do internally. With that, again, it's always a possibility.
We're gonna have a fence.
Yeah.
Not a huge fence, but we're gonna have a fence, and I'm sure there's other safety features that we may have to implement. And it's a road too, it's not, the park's not like set off like far away. I mean, that's a decently traveled road. And, like, see the police officers sometimes stay in there, or, I see them in there, so I'm, it could happen, I guess.
And we're also gonna have, like, and we have one already now, we have a fields crew that maintains and monitors the fields for the rain and all that, and that will continue to, because this was gonna be one of our main fields that we invested so much money into it, we would have that as well, so it will be heavily monitored, off and on, and literally I can walk there, literally there in Britain, so I'll be probably one of the main ones, to be honest with you, but that's just to keep it completely indulged in the field.
I guess I have a question about the funding. How secure is that? And if at least starts and funding, it doesn't come through as you expected, and then we start the project and it can't be finished, and then we have a park that is,
That's, yeah,
you know,
sure. I
usable.
Understood. We would be happy to sit down with your finance people and to give you the assurances. I don't want to get too specific about it, you know, because I know this is being taped, but I mean, needless to say, we're fine with that.
You're feeling.
And we're happy to provide you, sit down with somebody and go through exactly how it's going to be paid for. We have estimates for the turf field, we have estimates for the lighting, we have estimates for the fencing. We feel very comfortable as a board. We've been through this and we know where the funding is coming from and where it's going to come from.
Okay, and the fencing, what does the fencing look like? What kind of
It's
fencing?
not gonna be
is that?
much higher than 4 feet, like this, really this high. It's just kind of a barrier, not than anything, it's not gonna be.
What material are we talking? Is it going to be incorporated with the turf or is it going to be?
It'll be the turf field itself. If you obviously the metal benches kind of that are there now.
Right.
The turf field is further in, so we would have it kind of right.
So it'll be in the
right off the turf, like it can basically right out.
It'll be in a maintained area,
Yes.
that needs to be maintained.
Oh, yeah, it'll be connected.
Because I'm gonna say right now, with the amount of fence you're putting in, that's gonna be, oh, I can't, 600, over almost a quarter mile weed whacking
Yeah. No,
on top of what we have now. What type of fence is it? Is it wooden fence?
No,
My problem with the fence is, when you put up a fence, you close it off from the public. We like that, every park that we have has an open view, with the exception of the one home run fence we have on field 5.
Correct.
And I'm afraid it'll turn it into a dog park.
The,
No,
People,
I can't
people,
have it.
no, people, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. People are gonna walk their dogs in there, take it into a fenced area and unleash it. And they're just gonna run around. And then they're gonna be, oh, well, he just pooed over there. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
They
yeah,
don't-
and listen, I don't disagree with the fence will be is a 4-foot aluminum fence, is basically what it is. It's not much higher than that. It's really just. Feel play. It stops right where the turf is. That's where it is. There's no more past that. Can we not? Yeah, and open doors and stuff like that. I mean, we're not locking in or anything like that. And gates will be there. It's open. Can a dog go in there and do its business? Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm saying if it's completely closed off, you know what I'm saying? They'll lock the gate and they'll just let them.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be an open area. It's not going to be locked. It's basically to keep the soccer balls in.
Right.
More than anything, it's not, there's no going to be lock and key. There's not.
No, I understand that.
It's not going to, it won't be open to where.
It's gonna be 4
Contiguous
sides.
around.
Is gonna
Yeah.
circumference the
Yeah.
entire area.
Right, yes. And again, that's something we can obviously, we're in initial conversations here. That's something we can also talk about.
What's that?
Put some type of signage, it's like, no dogs.
But to your point, if you had an open gate, if there was an open gate, you'd accomplish the safety aspect, but not have gates, like a walkthrough that somebody can't close, and then maybe they'd be discouraged.
Well, that's a good, I was gonna say, like intervals of
Right,
fencing and then like there's 10 feet that are open and there's 10 feet of fence and there's 10 feet that's open. Now along the back, I know where you're talking about one goal where it really drops down where the other fence isn't. There's a steep drop off there. That I would say you could probably put a solid fence along line there, but I think along the sides, we need to limit it. That would be my only suggestion.
Well, obviously, we would go over these plans.
Right.
in
What
more
are your
detail.
hours?
Excuse me?
At night? What time do you shut it down?
Typically, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
You know, we have.
Because I mean, you're injecting 30,000 lumens in this area, and that's bright.
If there's like the right.
That's CB South stuff. I mean, that's CB South, right? It's a big, we've never had lights in any of our parks. We were always against lights. I think about 5 years ago, I think we voted to let the light, those portable lights.
That's what we have there.
That's what we have there right
Yeah,
now.
lights.
right.
But,
And again, the lights where, difference with CB South and the stadium is they're projecting into the stands as much as well. Lights for a soccer field, you don't really have stands. It's literally direct. I mean, it can
Correct.
literally pinpoint onto
Yeah.
the goal specifically. I mean, it's not going to be shooting out 17. Literally, if you go 5 feet off the turf, it's dark. And just like it is now, when you go over there now with our lights off, you go 5 feet off the turf, it's completely dark. It's basically going to accomplish that. It's not like we're seeing South football has, they have to light up everything around the stadium, those concessions,
Correct.
you know, the parking, the stadiums. We're not going to do anything like that. This is literally going to be pinpointed right into the field of play and nowhere outside. Literally 5 feet off the field, it will be dark.
And shut down at 8.
Oh, yeah, we don't go past, we're not going past 8 o'clock now, and because our kids, obviously, they're all kids. They go to school in the morning, so we understand that. We started trainings typically at 5 o'clock and run 5 to 6:30, 6:30 to 8, 2 sessions.
And again, that's an issue that, obviously, that's one of probably a million issues that we're not going to get
That
resolved
would be the
tonight.
stipulation.
Yeah, I mean, those are some of the things we need to sit down with your solicitor and your township manager and Bill and kind of work through these issues.
Are you able to get a rendering of the lights?
Oh.
Meaning,
The projections.
exactly,
Yeah.
because I think that would be effective in your case, because I know. the
Because
lights are
we
an
do
issue.
have a neighborhood back, Stone Creek, and when the leaves are down, they're gonna be affected. And, if we can have more of a sketch plan, like Jessica saying, that it shows basically the circumference of the lights.
Yeah, I believe I actually have that in some proposal, but I definitely have.
Yeah, we are.
We did a illumination map basically where they would show, and where they would completely drop off. And I can give it.
Where does a Pico bill go to?
We're handling all, everything covered with the finances, everything covered with the cost.
The parking lot, as far as safety goes in the parking lot, would there be lights included in the
There's
parking lot?
lights already.
Yeah,
in
there's
there.
lights already there.
There's street lamps off the telephone poles,
It's
yeah.
very lit now.
Yeah.
I mean, you could walk past on the island, it feels like it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's pretty lit up.
In the parking lot.
So that's safe.
Yes.
The remaining side, Bill, what do you see? Or what do you not see? Besides
I mean, as long as, that's just one point. Obviously, we can work with the fence because it's gonna save the amount of mowing. Well, it takes 2 hours, takes us about, for the whole area, about an hour and a half to do West Branch Park. That's with 2 hours. One obviously would be about 3 hours. So we're talking probably an hour, save at least an hour of mowing time.
And do you also aerate that?
I actually aerated it today.
I actually thought I saw something driving around. So that's another thing.
I said, my only 2 big issues is basically right of first refusal and the lights. That's my 2 biggest issues. I mean, I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea. But these are, I think, 2 big issues that,
It would be interesting with the right to first refusal is to know not exactly, but to give us an idea of how much time will you be wanting to have it, so that we could know how much free time there would be available
Right.
We
to
can-
other sports. And would you be thinking of extending your season now that you would have a turf field
Yeah.
and extending, so do you know what I mean?
That's a
I'm
good-
giving
that's
us,
a good question, but our season's really developed by the leagues that we play in, and we
Correct.
always end like November, for example, is the end of the season for us for the fall season. Spring season typically starts March, April, and it's over in June, July, right? So we're really bookmarked by what they provide the seasons. We don't do our own seasons.
but just knowing what kind of seasons you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it will be willing to work with you, obviously, to make it fair.
We can definitely give you what our schedules are now with the park and give you an idea of what we're looking at.
And I would say, also give us like projections of how many kids have you been, like past projections and now future projections? How many kids have been in the league? I'm the supervisor, so I'm going to go broader. And say, show us that it's really needed to have a turf field and this is going to stay for 10 years and that it can be used for more than just PA rush. Looking broader afield, it's I don't want to see that this is the peak of your participation and enrollment, and then it's going to start dwindling, and then we're going to have, you're not going to be able to finance the field and we'll be left with it. So that's,
I totally agree with you on that. we can show you our enrollment, over the last 10 years and projection. We can argue say it's probably 40% in the last 10 years, and it's nowhere slowing down. Especially with the more houses and development in this area. I mean, it's, soccer is a sport, and when we sort of presented the presentation earlier, that anybody can play from 2 years old, 3 years old, up to 99, but a little younger than that. But we open up to everyone, and we give an avenue, and we are growing because we are one of the organizations in the area that offer these programs that no one else does. Some other clubs around there do not offer these programs, and we get a lot of players coming from us in the New Britain Township and some other townships that because we offer something else. So our projections to growth is going to continue to grow, and we can show that. And meaning that we bring a turf field, it also will grow projections as well because it's giving opportunity to kids to train when they can't train normally in grass fields.
And I've been with the club for 10 years, right? I'm the president of the club for the last 6 years. I started when my son was 3, and when my daughter was 3. Now my daughter actually turned 13 today, which is a tough age. But it's been nothing but growth for us, right? And when we do have programs like POPs, like that Joe was talking about, and we have these kids out there. Currently, we're using South Township, we're using Central Parks, and the grass is high, right? It's really tough for those kids, especially kids who have disabilities. It's tough for them to go out there and kick the ball. And they're just kind of lacking the grass. So being able to provide those services on a better surface, right, and have a better experience, it's only going to get our numbers higher. Plus, World Cup is in November, right? And then the US has the World Cup in 4 years. What do you think that's going to do to the sport? It's just going to continue.
But see, then that says that it will be used more for you and would have less capacity for other sports. So that's what I'm trying to say is, will it really, now you could use it for other sports, but in the future, with all those wonderful positive things, could literally just turn into only soccer.
Well,
We still have to
clearly
fit
there's,
on the basis of the clubs, because there's 3 we don't run the leagues. There's a couple different leagues, and primarily it's Center County Soccer League and TDP, the 2. We have to follow when they start and when they finish, and they've been that way forever. They start at a certain time, they end at a certain time, they start at a certain time, end at a certain time. There's a significant amount of break time in the winter months as well as in the summer months. That will never change. It hasn't changed, never changed. We don't have any other additional leagues, nor will we ever, that we go into. So those opportunities for New Britain Township in the winter months as well as the summer months will be there now and will be there for the foreseeable, for as long as the turf fields exist.
Yeah, I think this could be, looking at it as such an asset for the community, for sure.
Absolutely.
And I don't even think, it's almost like hosting you guys here. And I think that's kind of an attractive piece or component. I know I'm really attracted with the Thunder program for sure. And just the young program. I know my kids go to soccer shots because they're the only one that will take them because they're so young. I have a 3, 2, and an 8-month-old. And so this is very attractive to me. And I know there's not a lot of problems around. We go to Montgomery County because no one else will host the little guys. So I like that component as well, but I think that that's an asset, and with the turf field, and I think that's going to help start building our infrastructure. And if we get around the Cotton Park, that's only going to enhance that. I know we had spoken about the lights at Cotton Park, and I know there's concerns with the lights. I do think that this would be the best scenario park-wise to put lights in because of the location. I would really like to explore that because there is this allure and just this gem of having an illuminated turf field. I mean, that's the colleges, it's just such an asset.
it's essentially, we're coming to you with a capital project that will probably cost, we're talking in excess of $1 million. And we're offering to do that with some benefit to us, obviously, that's why we're doing it. And I think some reasonable benefit. We obviously still want to work out some of the details, but we think this is a really good opportunity for Rush, but also for New Britain Township. So, and we've really been thoughtful and thorough in our approach in coming to you folks we've done our homework, we've looked at other things where there's other areas, we've looked at, but we thought this was the best opportunity, and we thought geographic wise, it was the best host community for us.
And I mean, I agree with Jessica. I mean, I agree with, what you're doing. I just wish we had a little bit more time so we can actually sit down, write the questions down of importance to us and make it condition upon those conditions being met, then for our recommendation.
That's fine.
Because at 7 o'clock is when I got this.
Yeah.
And I didn't even process it yet. I mean, that's just.
Yeah, there's a
basically-
lot, yeah.
And we're not saying no, by no means.
And
I'm
that's
just
really
saying-
that's really what this meeting was. We were literally just kind of giving you all the information, and that's exactly what we expected. So we didn't expect you to sign off on it.
We didn't want anybody to sign off. We were just hoping we could get a pathway to get to a position where we're discussing specifics, trying to answer these questions and reach an agreement.
I had kids, I used to be a coach. I mean, I support all this. It's just that we need to.
Sure.
to wrap
I
it
think we'll
up.
put it on the agenda for next meeting.
Yeah, and this is, this.
So we can further
again, this
discuss
is-
it.
This is new to the township. We never had a park that was lit. This is
So
new.
I think it's
And,
time though.
It's
I'm
time,
excited.
yeah.
I think it's a good opportunity.
Yeah.
An expiration on the grant funding?
So maybe next meeting, the board would have more questions, gather them all together.
Yes.
Then they'll present them to you, and then you could come back with that kind of information and then have another dialogue. That might be the best way of doing
And
it.
I think what would help too would be the right of first refusal, where you're gonna write it. And then basically the lumens field to see how they're projected, maybe like an example of a park that you're gonna be like duplicating, that we can go see at night, how the lights are projected. Because I mean, we gotta think of our residents too.
Oh, sure.
Even though that is a pretty isolated park, we still have people that live there, even if it's one house or two houses or, some in the back. So we gotta keep that in mind. So that would really help us, because to me, that's a concern.
Absolutely.
And again, we're not saying no by no means, it's just that, time to think about it.
We can get you that study.
We will
If you
get
ever
that.
you drive by the Ukrainian National Field sometime, you can see what kind of lights out there, how they're putting straight down. It will be a similar process.
There's no where that's
Do you know,
at.
is that on County Line?
It's on Lower State.
There's
Road.
also up
Yeah.
at where they play Huntington Valley.
Yeah, that's a little hiker, but Huntington Valley.
But that really is probably a real good example for it. Maybe you're looking at Google, right here, is Lower Moreland High School. That has the field, kind of the field we're talking about, where it's 11v11 and 299,
Lights are set up.
and the lights are set up there.
As well as.
So that could give you a little bit better kind of feel of what the field would look like. And obviously, we can get this, we're happy. Is there a certain person we need to who do we funnel the information from? So,
Our new boss.
Bill, okay, great. We'll get with Bill.
Should we also make a recommendation? Should they propose this in front of the board as well, after we come up with our questions? Should they take this, once it gets past us, should they propose this in front of our
At the next
board,
meeting, yeah.
in front of our board of supervisors?
What?
I want this board to be the one that talks to them, and if it doesn't get past this board, I wouldn't make that recommendation to board supervisor. In my mind, this board is the vetting process.
Okay.
As I've been hearing things, we're talking a lot about the nuts and bolts. I'd like this board to consider, this is a first, this is not typical. This type of relationship with New Britain Township is not typical. So I want you to think more philosophically also to say, okay, we have a group who's willing to invest a lot of money on a township property. What does that look like? What is that relationship going to be? How does that mechanism work? And how are we going to manage that moving forward? Don't get lost in the details about what it can be and the lights and how it'll look awesome. I mean, it sounds like a great idea. On behalf of the township, right? That's what I'm here. I'm a wet blanket. thinking, okay, how does this relationship work with the municipality? How do we make that connection? Who owns it? You're telling me you're gonna be investing over $1 million into a township property? Who's going to own it? Right? Ever expanding gray area, right? How are we going to manage it? How is that relationship going to last over time? Typically, organizations have a shorter lifespan than municipalities. I think about that, government lasts a really long time. How is this relationship going to last 10 years, 20 years, 50 years? Right? I'm not saying these things to kill the project. I'm saying I'm encouraging the board to think not just about the nuts and bolts, the details of the plans, but this would represent a really big change from what I see my past year and a half of what New Britain Township has been. I hear that. Yeah, that's a big change. To invest, have private investment in a township land park, that is a huge change. So don't lose sight of that either. I'd like you to think about those things. I'd like you to think about how that would work, what that relationship would look like moving forward, whether or not it can be navigable, successfully. I'm always looking at the nuts and bolts for, okay, how am I going to manage this relationship moving forward? Because it'll be complicated. It will be. When you have another entity who has an investment in a municipal land owned by the people, how is that relationship going to be managed moving forward? Food for thought. So I think it's a really good idea to have another conversation at the next Park and Rec Board. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and promise that we're going to go right to the Board of Supervisors. I think this group really needs to have a more detailed and more fruitful conversation. Y'all have a month to digest the material that they gave you. Maybe they can forward you some things, maybe in a week or two that you can that'll add into it. Also, start formulating your questions. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this conversation moves at the next meeting.
My understanding was this was already determined as a possibility before you even come up here. There was no talk about, was there any talk about this a possibility?
Not that I was aware of. I knew it was on the agenda.
We've been to, we've had some broad preliminary discussions, like how do we,
With the engineers and.
with Matt, we met and we just said, how do we get the process, like how do we get this like jump started?
That
Because
process includes the privatization of township ground.
yeah,
So
That's the big problem to solve.
right.
And so in our conversation today, look, we have our mechanism is for you, we believe the best approach is for you to present to the Parks and Rec Board. You as a board are the first line of defense in listening to anything having to do with our parks. If it doesn't pass your sniff test, then make your recommendation to the board. We got reservations, or maybe you get through this exercise. Yeah, it actually checks all the boxes. Then you can make that recommendation to the Board of Supervisors, and then you'll come in and make that presentation to the Board of Supervisors. That's as far as it's gotten. We had some cursory discussions explaining the process, and this is that first step. And I think it's a healthy process. And I like the ideas I said before. I like the idea of you coming again next month to have a more in-depth conversation.
sure, we're happy to do that, and we agree. We want to make this, we want to make this as easy as possible and get the information to you. And other townships are doing this. We gave you the Horsham Soccer Association's partnering with Horsham Township at their fields. Also, Whitpain's done it. And I'm sure there's probably other people I'm not thinking of, but we really are excited to be here today, to be able to, this for us has been a long time coming in discussions with our board and preparation. So we're very excited to continue the discussion with you, and we're happy to come back and discuss this with you, provide whatever information you need. The township's been great with helping us to kind of understand the process, and we very much appreciate your time.
We love working with the township.
Yeah.
I think West Branch and North Branch from the township for 20, 30 years, right? So it's been a long-term partnership.
Can I ask a question? Is PA Rush all of PA or is it just this area?
It's just this area.
Just this area.
Okay.
It would be just New Britain Township
Mhm.
residents?
Well,
No.
I mean, it's we pull from New Britain, Doylestown, I mean, that's this
Okay.
area.
Okay.
But Central Block.
Central Block.
Central Block.
Okay.
basically.
All right, well, I think,
When is your folks' next meeting?
November 15, third Tuesday of the next month. Yep, I
would be,
think it's 15.
15.
Yep, the 15th. Same time.
oh, that's the other committee.
Oh. No?
Okay, so I guess,
We don't have to take a vote.
no,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that the thing for the board, what we need to do as the board is develop questions when you get a chance to take a look at the packet a little more thoroughly. Develop questions, maybe we can have a list of our questions circulated.
Hi, can you come to my soccer game
I
at
think
Bishop
it's-
High
so the
School
question-
So we have
Alexandria
a couple action items on our end. that we'll get
Saturday
The bill,
on Halloween?
provide them that, and if
It
there's
should
something
be a
that
lot
comes
of
up
fun.
that you guys say, I'd like to see
So
this,
it's
I'd
nice
like to
to-
see that, or anything, we'll do our best to get you that information as soon as possible. Be prepared to come back and.
Bill, you're gonna be emailing us to like Shell to set up the meetings. and-
There might be one or two you might get.
It's a
from her.
lot of fun to
Or
hear you
or
guys
yes, from that,
speaking.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see you guys in my soccer game. Should be fun, huh? I play after lunch, I think. And you should give me money because I need money. I need 20, 25, 30,
I think you should
30,
probably all get your
40,
questions together and then,
Within like the
50.
and then, well, we have a month, so.
Yeah, but I want to give them ample time. to
Right.
also get-
Yeah.
Yeah,
even if I-
your responses.
the first November 1st,
Okay.
there's more than enough time to.
Yeah, we'll try.
Probably most of those. we
They
have
won't be
somewhere.
that hard.
Yeah, and probably a lot of it we have somewhere already. There's no really answers once.
And we'll get you right away the questions about the lumens, the example of others, and maybe, we haven't even sat down and thought about right of first refusal language, but we'll take a look at that.
I love wrestling, dude.
As Matt mentioned, the big.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
agreement with the township. He's got control, he doesn't have control.
Maybe more detail on the long-term lease. too, would be helpful. What you have
Yeah,
in
I'd like
mind
to
is
see this work
long-term.
out personally, so it's a matter of, working together.
Yeah, and like, obviously, the field and the investment, the long-term lease would be something that we would agree upon.
Right.
We would sign it, we would,
Yeah.
50, 20, 30, whatever the year that we, based upon the investment we put in, that would be agreed upon and, it's like,
Would you be interested in having a vendor space in our office? How about the parade? Would you be interested in that?
absolutely.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's so
Yeah,
hesitant, but,
No, it's okay.
you know,
No, I
we experienced some of the situations before with baseball teams and, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this, we'll do that.
And jumping on another point, if there's an issue about the financial end that you want to have, you have questions about them, we'll make available or privately our treasurer to discuss that, so you have a comfort level of where we're at financially.
Okay, I think that's great. So going forward, we can send out an email to Bill with our questions.
Sure,
You compile them,
yes.
send it off, and we'll get our answers, and then we can discuss for next. I think that's great.
I think.
We could discuss that
Yeah.
amongst ourselves.
Or I think the email going back and forth and in 2 weeks we can decide if we need to schedule another meeting or not. Does that make sense?
Sounds good. I gotta share.
Okay, all right, so
Well, thank you
next.
very much for your
Oh,
time.
thank
You're
you.
welcome.
You know what?
Very much.
Very-
Thank you.
Very impressive.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Happy birthday to your daughter.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm okay. I had a lot of fun today.
Thank you so much for your
All
time.
right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too. Thanks again.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
Thank
Go Phillies.
you. You too.
Good faces
Yeah.
when you paid your taxes years ago.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Let me make sure we're clear on this.
Okay.
We want to compile the questions and have them here next meeting, or we're going to compile the questions and see if or do we want to have a private meeting amongst ourselves before they're involved in the next?
Private, that's my opinion.
Because Mark had started off wanting this before they even started, as stating that we need to have a private discussion about this without them involved. We'd rather do that, to have our questions compiled and put into the minutes with an agenda. And then have them invite them to the next meeting, give them a process of, after the next meeting, this is the questions that have arisen. So at next meeting, you can present the answers to those questions. Okay. Rather than trying to compile a bunch of questions on a piece of paper and email it to them. What's that? Yes, okay.
We have removed your personal data from 10 popular people search websites.
That was
About your personal information.
early afternoon or, yeah.
What time's good for everybody?
What date were you looking at?
Is there a good time for everyone for this interim meeting, or do we want to move on?
Oh, works out.
I'm sorry. I don't get a vote either, bro, and I gotta do all.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the question, why not just do it at the next official Park and Rec Board meeting, have it on the agenda and ask the public if they'd like to talk to it. Maybe they have other questions that.
So, but you're saying then not to
have
have PA Rush here, it would just be open to the
Yeah,
public to
just have another
about this.
Park and Rec Board meeting like normal. You've got a month to think about it yourselves.
Right.
And then as a full discussion, as a public meeting, have that as your discussion about what questions, what ideas. Maybe the public would like to come and listen to some of these things.
And then you're suggesting that then we invite them to the December meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, like not rush it. It
Yeah.
feels like we're rushing. It feels like, that we're rushing it, like putting it all together, having interim meeting. But I think if we can use this as our working meeting on November 15th, invite the public for people that might have more questions, especially the people that are in that neighborhood
Residents.
surrounding. Yes.
Well, if they're within 150 feet, they have to be notified. So,
Okay.
I think it's 150.
But,
150?
yeah.
I agree. I don't think that rushing it is the right thing. This is a really huge thing that should.
See, I disagree. I think I'm willing to not rush it. I just don't want it to die, like a lot of
Yeah,
the
but
projects.
so nobody asked them though, have they considered or looked at other parks? Have they? Have they presented this?
He said that they have.
He told us they
didn't.
have, but he didn't
They
mention
had
what parks they looked at.
Portia and.
No,
Woodbury.
those ones are also doing it, is what he said.
They have it done. They have already privatized.
I'm
They already
asking
have-
if PA Rush has looked at any other parks in this area to put their field on. We don't know the answer to that.
for,
So I don't think that we're
I
gonna
think they
lose
did
out
because of
on
the
this.
drainage. I mean, that was the,
Right.
he said because of the
Yeah,
drainage.
But
was
that's what I'm saying.
ideal, and that's
I
why
don't think he's
they're
gonna like,
charging
we're
too.
gonna lose out on this opportunity necessarily, because if they haven't even considered or looked at any.
I think it-
So why don't we just gather our questions, bring them to the next meeting?
Yeah.
And then push them back to December.
Yes. I
And,
agree.
Are we gonna have the December meeting? I know we usually skip one of the,
I think we can have a December meeting.
the January meeting.
I think we could have a December meeting for this because I think this is really important.
Normally skip or is it?
I think sometimes if we don't have anything,
Yeah.
but I mean, if we need to be here, we need to be here.
I mean, I'm happy to
It's,
do that.
It's on the
interim meeting,
20th,
too.
it's not like, it's a 20th.
Yeah, I just think it's a great opportunity and I would like to reflect our enthusiasm and I'm willing to put in extra work just to make sure that it's moving along, knowing that there's delays and.
I mean, there are
the
things that we're
production.
not gonna be able to do, and that's gonna be between the subject matter experts of the township and them, as
Right.
far as how this is run.
Right,
It's
right. That's the big, that's the
Yeah,
big
but I think
question.
it's now, like, I think it's now's the time to start to branch out and to,
Mhm.
you know, this I think could be a real big showcase for us and hopefully can open up possibilities for Cotton Park and stuff like that, and our
Right.
other parks and other infrastructure.
Right, right.
And if someone's willing to take it.
I
on the
know, and
cost,
do
I was
that,
almost like, yeah,
right.
let's just.
Tell you though,
Work it
as new chairman, it's 8:45.
I know.
I know.
We got so much to learn.
It's still 0-0.
Oh, we gotta go. Okay, so, I know, no show on, I guess the game. Okay, so the next thing is, opening. There's a board, a Park and Rec board opening. Anybody know anything about that?
So
Anything?
we've had at the last two Board of Supervisors meetings, yes. We've had 4 people come in, no, 3 people come in for the Park and Rec, and we've had interviews. They've come in, they've told us who they are, what they're interested in, why they've applied. I think there was more than 3 applications, 1 more. So we're waiting on 1 more person to come through.
Okay.
And after that, then the board will have a discussion about where we all feel like.
Okay.
So.
And,
that's it.
and do we have any say in that as an advisory board?
No.
No, okay.
Is this just sit on this board?
Yes.
That,
Yeah, you and I,
happened?
I know what happened. We
we used to
interviewed
interview
with the
candidates,
advisory board, but.
and then we would give
one
a
of the
recommendation to the supervisor.
Yeah,
It's
it's one of the
different now.
changes. Yeah,
But now it's a supervisor, they meet directly with the supervisor.
okay.
There
We
is,
actually together.
yeah. Go ahead,
I
Bill.
was informed that if we're already sitting on the advisory,
Mhm.
once again, I just discussed as the non-voting members, that we don't have to interview.
No, you don't.
Okay.
No, you don't have to interview. We just wanted to hear from everybody before we had that discussion. But if you go back and listen to last month, no, not last month's, the work session, there was a discussion about how the Board of Supervisors wanted to reorganize the Park and Rec Board. They've been working on, the solicitor has been working on putting, codifying how we would like to see the Park and Rec Board work. And it's the resolution that will then define roles, responsibilities, terms, all that sort of thing. So there was a discussion. If you want to go ahead and listen to it, I was not actually there, I was on Zoom. So then you'll hear where some of the other board members feel that their direction is. So yeah. It's an evolving discussion about all boards and things, but
Is there a link to that? Are you
yes,
able to send us a link, or-
it's on the website. It's a YouTube video of the last board meeting, not last night's, but the night before, the one before, early October.
The work session.
I think very organized way of doing things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there was no written organization per se for Parks and Rec. It didn't exist.
So it gives us more direction and
Yes.
what we need to do.
I
what
agree, I
deadlines,
agree.
yes.
with that.
If only
Okay.
James was here for the soccer field
I
You
know.
would have had a lot of
I
commentary.
know. I think, okay.
Would have ran out of paper.
One would be, I think they want that because it's in their backyard also. The one representative said, I can walk there, and the other one is, you know, they're invested. They are so invested in this, you know, whether it comes across that or not, but I think because it's so close, they don't have travel time, they can have more time with their families, so I think they want this in their backyard.
No, this is.
And it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. It's good for the community.
Well, he first stated they used to be Lenape
Okay,
Valley.
Here we go.
So.
Yes.
All right, public comments. Any public comments? I have a public comment. Please take the peppers, there are bags there, and cookies.
I really like that.
I know. It turns out, yeah, yes.
How big is your garden? Did you have that many?
I know.
That is only from
It's
3
unbelievable.
plants, but I use compost. 3 pepper
And they put a
plants.
little chocolate bar.
It's a heavy
Hang on,
basket.
I do have one more thing. Were you going to talk about it?
Oh.
Yeah.
So, but there's no public here too.
But the board, tell the board.
So we're planting 150 trees behind Circle Drive, and it's an opportunity for public to help and manage to secure a grant for a lot of trees.
Free trees from
Free
a
trees.
native gardener, some native sponsor said Bucks County.
What kind of trees?
They're all native trees. He's not quite sure. He hasn't done an inventory of what they are yet.
Not
ash
Is it the pawpaw?
No, sorry.
I love pawpaw. Yeah, I know. I'm a big fan.
So basically,
Yeah.
this is
Big.
through the
Penn State Master
State.
Watershed.
the same project that was done in the spring, similar to at Marshall Circle. So if anyone listening to this recording wants to help out, we'll reach out to Ken Jones and maybe we can put that on the website.
It's up on the website today. It's up on the Facebook page from New Britain Township. So there is a link there to email, send it out, blast it to anybody you would like to. His intent, because there is so many, and it's just out our back door, is anytime after 3 o'clock, he will go outside and try and plant a tree or two every day. So if anybody would like to come plant on a beautiful, like today, a beautiful day like today, come out and plant. It took him half an hour to plant 2 trees. So you want to come for an hour and plant a few trees? Yep. Just email, use the email from the blurb on the Facebook and the front page of New Britain Township, and then we'll contact you and say this is what's going to happen. That's awesome.
Put it in a writing, the soccer players have to plant a tree.
I am definitely seeing some leeway with this. I definitely see some good things. But anyway, so if there are any other questions?
Nope.
Okay, I motion to adjourn. Thank you. All right. All in favor?
All right.
All opposed? Motion carried. Very good. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, you did.
You have like 10 times more than I do. I'm like watching you write. I'm like,
Not that you would be able to understand all
huh?
my notes. You wouldn't, my handwriting is a mess.
No, I kind of got, I'm all over the place too. See what happens?